All right, we are live in the studio and having a few dramas tonight, but we'll work through it and see what happens. All right, we have got the young superstar from, I suppose, Wollongong, Albion Park.
I'd call it Wollongong.
Hey?
Albion Park, but yeah, Wollongong area counts.
Yeah. All right, it's Kora Naughton. Evening, darling.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very, very well. It's been a few months since I had a chat to you, since I saw you too.
It's been a little while.
Yeah, back in March when you headlined the My Country Australia concert in Wollongong.
Yes, was that March? It was so long ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago.
End of March, yeah.
Time flies.
It does. And things have been happening for you.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy. Definitely, I've been in the studio recording some new music, and then I've been, finishing school, HSC and stuff. So, just graduated not too long ago and had my formal, and now I'm off on my schoolish trip.
Very, very good. Now let's talk about the new song. It's called Speechless.
Yeah, and it's called Speechless because me sitting there writing it, I had this melody stuck in my head and didn't really know what I was saying, and I wrote the first verse as a joke because I didn't know what to write about, and I guess I was literally just speechless, so I wrote this song and it turned out pretty cool and funky and something different, so yeah.
Yeah, it is different from the stuff that you've done before, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot different. It's definitely a different direction. But I think the thing with my music is, Ride or Die, my album was, every track on there was so different to each next track. So I think maybe that's something about me that that's a little bit unique, is that I do have a lot of different styles of music and everything is kind of always something new and fresh with me.
Very good. Now, you created a video for it as well. And
yeah.
Was there a little twinkle in the eye there I saw with you and the young fella that you hooked up with in the video?
Well, I met him that day, and he's an apprentice at my dad's work. So I think my dad might.
So Joey's trying to set something up.
Oh no!
Good evening to you, Joe. I know you'll be listening. And Lisa, how are you?
It was a lot of fun actually to film the clip, but yeah.
Now, in the clip too, you've turned 18 not long ago, and you've got the little car. So you can see Cora's car in the clip. Now, give us a little rundown of what happened a few weeks ago.
What happened a few weeks ago?
When you went to the beach.
Oh no. Okay, well, I was at the beach just taking the dogs for a walk, nice and simple. And I thought, let them off for a little bit. It was one of the dog-friendly off-leash parks, and we were running around, and I was just sitting there, and the dogs were digging holes behind me, and turns out somewhere along the way I had lost my keys. So going back to my car, I couldn't find my keys anywhere, and I thought, that's very weird. So I was literally just walking around the beach, digging holes, trying to find my keys for about 3 hours. We had a metal detector down there and everything. It was a bit crazy, and I did not find my keys. So we had to get my car towed home. I didn't have a spare key, and had to order a new set of keys. And then a few days later, my dad went back down to the beach, and a lovely man that was there the night we lost the keys found them floating in the water.
Floating in the water?
Yeah, well, there was a little tag sticking up out in the water, and he picked them up thinking it was rubbish, and the keys were buried underneath the sand in the water.
Fair enough. Okay. Now, do you know how they got down there? Did you go near the water?
No clue. Well, I was sitting kind of close to the water, but my dogs were digging holes, and I thought they'd dropped into a hole that the dogs had dug, and I just filled it in.
Yeah.
So I've been digging holes for hours, and I don't know. I have no idea how they got there, but I'm thankful I found them after I spent the $500 on new keys.
All right, well, we've embarrassed you now, so we'll move on. So you got new music. You said you've been in the studio, new music, yeah? So
yeah.
Is it like Speechless, or are we still doing that variation stuff?
Look, there's definitely some stuff that's a bit more on the pop side, similar to Speechless. But there is also, you know, there's a track that I recorded with Shane Nicholson that is very much, you know, that kind of alternate style.
Yep.
Things you'd find more so with my other songs, maybe like more of a Ravenswood Lane feel, a bit of a darker tone,
yep.
which I think is really cool. But then there's songs that I've written that haven't been recorded yet, but I definitely intend to record. Are a lot more like Speechless, a bit more poppy and fun, and I think the song that I recorded with Shane's kind of going to be that standout little gem in there.
Uh-huh.
That something different to release your ears from the pop sound every once in a while. So.
Now, Ride or Die is over a year old now.
Yeah.
So when do you look like recording a new album?
Well, I think at the moment I'm just taking it song by song. So
yep.
when I'm really ready to record that song and I feel like I know the direction I want to go in with it, I'm definitely going into the studio and recording those songs. And then I think when I have a few songs under my belt, then I'll decide, you know, is this going to be an album? Is this going to be an EP? Is it going to be release all the songs and then put them onto an album,
yep.
or release them as an album and then release singles? So it's a lot to think about, but I think once I've got a couple more songs recorded under my belt, it'll definitely be next year. There'll be a lot more releases coming from me.
Very good. Now, I just want to say to you how refreshing it is that you actually talk now. Folks, for those of you that don't know, I've known Kora for, 3.5 years now? And
something like that.
Yeah, and the first time, I did Kora's first ever radio interview, and she did not say a word.
No, not really.
It was probably one of the worst interviews you've ever seen on radio, but no, it wasn't, cause
I did my best.
You did, Don. Yeah, you did. So no, and it's so refreshing. Like I see you now on Facebook. Things and you know, videos, and when you used to go into the Planet, you know, what's it, Planet
Country.
Yeah, Planet Country. I don't know what country just didn't come to my mind. The Planet Country studio, and I used to see you on there, and you know, you're doing your interviews on there, and it's great to see now that you've come out of your shell, and you know,
yeah,
it's actually awesome.
Yeah, well, I guess that's a huge part of the things I've gone through growing up. I guess when you're in an industry where promoting yourself is super important, you kind of have to grow up and make sure you know what you're talking about and kind of grow the confidence more so than anything else to stand up and talk about yourself, because sometimes it's really awkward,
yep.
You know, trying to talk about yourself. It's like, oh, I don't want to look like I'm up myself, but I also don't want to undersell myself. So it's like, where do you draw the line? But I guess it's things you learn as you go.
But no, I'm not blowing smoke up my own, you know what here. But I thought I remember telling you that after the interview, Kora, you got to know what you're talking about. You got to have things to talk about. So yeah, but all good now. You're a superstar. We all love you. Now, you said before you finished school. You finished your HSC. Do you know what you're going to do?
Well, next year's definitely going to be, because school has limited me so much with my music. It's been, you know, you've got to be back at school on Monday, so you can't go too far. You have to be, you know, you have a gig Sunday afternoon, and it can't be more than however many hours away because you have this assessment due on Monday and it really needs to be done.
Yep.
So I don't have that limitation anymore, which means I'm going to jump into music full time. If it doesn't work, obviously, RSH in New South Wales, obviously it's the HSC ATAR system.
Yep.
And so I'm done my HSC and got my ATAR, which means that if I want to next year and music doesn't happen to be ready enough to do full time, then I can jump into things like uni and TAFE and go find a job and see what I want to do. But I think the beauty of not doing school anymore is that I have more of an opportunity to explore my music.
Yep, that's awesome. That is awesome, and hopefully we'll see you down in Melbourne.
Hope so. Yeah. I would love to come down.
All right, now, gigs. What gigs you got coming up? Let the people know.
Actually, I have been quite busy the last few weeks, and I think this few weeks is my time to relax. I have obviously my school is trip for the rest of this week, and then I have I'm going on a cruise with the family, and then it's Christmas. I definitely have a few gigs. You can check them out on my Facebook page. They'll be up there. But I think my next big thing is going to be Tamworth.
All right. Now, how do the people buy your music? Remember, we don't flog Spotify or iTunes or anything like that. We want them to buy it from you. How do they get it from you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obviously available on all the platforms, which means Speechless at the moment isn't available directly from me. So Spotify and iTunes and all that are probably your only options at the moment. But you can grab a copy of my album Ride or Die at www.koranaughton.com.au.
And she will sign it.
I will sign it.
I know, because I've got one sitting up on my office wall. All right, darling. Well, look, thanks very much for joining me tonight. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully I get to catch up with you and the family soon.
Yeah, for sure. I would love that.
Yep. All right. Well, look, we can't play your new song right now because it's going to come up later on.
Oh, all right.
All right. So it'll come up in the top 15. So we'll play that later on. But we're going to play your number one song from My Country Australia's Top 40. Which is, it debuted at number one way back when it was released. This is Kora Naughton.
Number one for a while.
It did. So this is
How lucky.
This is Kora Naughton, and I Don't Want to Grow Up.